Hi guys, welcome back to another Daily Tarot card. These are your Daily Tarot cards for Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. Today we're pulling from the Enchanted Forest cards. Happy New Year. I hope you had a safe and blessed time. Welcome to all the new members of the Soul Tribe. Hope that 2023 is going to be everything you wanted and more. So we're starting off with the Weaver of Vision. So this is a siren. So they talk about like a shapeshifter. So it's very Little Mermaid, where she's a mermaid, a siren. She transforms into human and then back to a mermaid and then back to human again. So they're saying like, we're going through this transformative time. We're going towards the light. Like, we had the new moon, we had retrograde. Capricorn season can be a little difficult for some people. I know for me, I've been overthinking a lot, but in some of it has been a lot of good logic and showing me how much I've grown and changed. The way that the way that I used to handle things, is not. I'm like that obsessive thinking about relationships and stuff like that. It's like, that has changed now. So it's just like, showing how much I've grown and what, I feel like it's like putting what's important in front of everything, our priorities, you know what I mean? So it's like, we do talk about sacrifice, you know what I mean? We have the suspension here, which is the hangman, but they're talking about it a chrysalis, and I feel like it's like, catching up on our sleep, getting our mind right, getting our body right, like, and I mean in the sense of rest and rejuvenation. There is like as a society, it's like, we're not allowed to take a nap, and it's like, how much energy you can get from a power nap. Like you feel, especially when you have like a migraine or anything like that, and the just the sheer light just coming in from the window is too much. You know what I mean? Because with us, it's like we keep going. It seems like before we have a storm, I get a migraine now. Like the pressure. So it's just like, you know, doing things like, blocking out your eyes, or like, what I mean, when you sit, I pull my hoodie over my eyes so that way it doesn't bother me as much. But it's just like, certain things that we could do to rest and rejuvenate as we move forward. And I feel like it's like like I said, your priorities, like, everybody, like, started to take down their decorations, you know what I mean? So, sensory, like maybe it was a little too much with Christmas and stuff like that. So it's just like, I asked my kids, is it cool if I start taking everything down? I want to get a picture of them in front of the tree before I actually take it down. But it's like, I always ask my kids because this time of year is hard for them. You know what I mean? Like, one's during Christmas, one's after Christmas. I feel like once I take the tree down, maybe the other one will feel a little bit. But it's just like, getting, the house back to, situated the way it used to be. And, I'm sure Sonny's going to love that. He's just like, what are you doing with all my stuff? You know what I mean? So it's just like getting things back into the groove of things. We have the fairy wind. So something's coming in. We're getting that knocking right before we went to the new year with the 8 of Wands. It was very persistent. Something's coming in that should change the situation. With one, no harm to none, and so it is. It's like, this change is coming in. And I feel like, the wind comes in, and I feel like it's a gentle push from the universe. It's like, move forward with the things that you want to do. Fear, worry, doubt. Don't let that stand in your way. You know what I mean? Sit there, put your, feelers out there for what you want to accomplish, and see what's going to happen. This is definitely a time for manifestation. A lot of people are doing their vision boards right now. So I'm taking my time with mine. I was trying to get mine done before, like, today's truthfully the 1st. So it's just like, I'm just trying to sit there and hurry up and get it done. But it's just like, I don't want to fill it with things that are just like, meaningless. You know what I mean? Like, I really put a lot of thought into what I put on there. I'm methodical with what I put on there, where it's positioned and everything like that. You know what I mean? So, I put, I'm cutting out pictures and words and everything like that. So like, I want to sit there and really put in a lot of thought into things. I was sitting there, and it's like, I was looking at last year's, and I'm putting a check mark against everything that has happened. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and I still got more to do, but it's just like, the things that I've accomplished on there, it's just like, more than one. And I'm just so incredibly grateful for that. You know what I mean? Like, what a huge blessing for one, but for multiple things to happen, it's just like, because that's where you put your time and energy into. You know, the universe meets us halfway. They put things in our path. Like for me, it's just like, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. You know what I mean? I've done data entry before, but it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just, um, it's really changed our life. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what I mean? Because customer service, you get screamed at, you know what I mean? So it's just like, one foot in front of the other, coworkers make it easier, but management definitely does make a difference as well. So I just want to show you like this, the wild heart here. And this is encouragement. Like they said, this is not like the Fool where we have no idea where we want to go. We always think that the world is the last part of the journey, and it's like we still have the minor arcana to go through as well. You know what I mean? It's the evolution of the Fool, but it's just like now we have the experience to move forward. With this wild heart, it's like, look at this beautiful valley, this beautiful journey we're about to partake on. This reminds me of the Ace of Pentacles, where it's just like, we're in Capricorn season, grounding forces. And that's why I always say, like, Pentacles, yes, it does talk about money, but I feel like it's also grounding forces of the fact that, like, something is coming, and I feel like a positive, like, something, that we'll have to, like, put energy into, but it's like, be excited for that knowledge. Not everything that comes into our life has to be so tedious or a hard lesson. Like, it's how we approach it. With this, we had to do a test, and it was just like, I was scared poopless. I do bad with tests, and I ended up doing really good. And I was just so excited. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I didn't think I was going to pass probation, and I did. You know what I mean? But it's just like, now as I move forward, it's like I want to be the best I can be just for myself. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like I want to make sure that I'm always giving 110% into everything that I do. You know what I mean? As a parent and everything. This last year, they tried to tell me, like, going against my motherly instincts, and I'm like, no, like, this is a farce. This is bullshit. Excuse my language, but it's just like, oh, like, this is what happens when you sit there and you ask for mental health help for your children. It's like, nope, this. And then they ended up firing him. And I'm like, because you're a joke. Like, you have no business being in the line of business that you are. You know what I mean? And they're you know what I mean? It's just like their doctor's like, yeah, I want you to go back to it. I'm like, I don't want to. He's a jerk. I don't want that kind of energy around my children. Like, you know what I mean? They get more from talking to an actual therapist than this bull garbage. You know what I mean? Like, they're not certified. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, running you down as a parent is like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And I just was like, no, this is wrong. And I don't feel bad for standing up for my kids. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done with this. You're not doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done. I'm just like, you're not doing anything to help. You know what I mean? When as a parent, and I feel like that's where these cards come out as intuition. It's like, trust your intuition, especially when it comes to things that you love, especially when it comes to people that you love. You know what I mean? It's just like, you got to do what you know in your heart of hearts is best. It doesn't matter that nobody agrees, because now they're like, oh yeah, he's gone now. I'm like, oh, what a shock. Because he's telling parents that they're garbage parents. You know what I mean? Like, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? It's just like, no. I'm sorry. If you're hired for a job and you're not doing it, then it's just like, no, bye. You know what I mean? I feel like that's where a lot of parents, like, nowadays, it's just like, we're told, when we were kids, we could skip school. It wasn't a big deal. Like, nowadays, it's like you take your kid out of school just to do something fun. It's like a big deal. It's like, well, you guys are teaching them trigonometry in fucking grade 4. Excuse my language. But it's just like, follow your intuition. You do what you feel is right for yourself, for your family, priorities. You know what I mean? I definitely feel like this is like, following your intuition here. You know what I mean? When we get into the deeper meanings, you'll see what I mean. But this journey, it's just like, be bold, be brave, be bigger than your fear. You know what I mean? I feel like when they're saying like a sacrifice, with the suspension, I understand with myself, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted something to happen, but, universe was kind enough to be like, showing me like the other side of things that we don't look at, you know what I mean? When it comes to certain things. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I'm trying to force this into my, not force, but that's a strong word. But it's just like, I want to bring this into my life, But at the same time, it's just like, I could feel myself withdrawing because it's just like certain things that I'm like, well, if the more that I put that out in the universe, it's probably going to happen. And I just, it's just, I go back and forth with this situation, but it's just like, when they show me that, I'm just like, yeah, we don't want to be doing that. You know what I mean? It's just, it seems good at the time, but it's just like, the reality of this situation, you know? So with suspension, this is where I'm talking about. There is a dragonfly beside him, like right here. It seems like a little smooge. But it's just like, I feel like universe is protecting you in this time of, going through this chrysalis. I feel like January is going to be like that. I really don't feel like the year doesn't take off until like the near the end. Like when we do like the cards for the 24th, the week of the 24th, they're like, this week defines the rest of the year. So it's just like, I definitely feel like, people are coming back from holiday. Some people are just leaving for holiday now because everyone's coming back. But it's just like a lot of people are going on holiday, for like a week, when everybody's coming back from Christmas break, so they get the whole place to themselves, which is smart. But it's just like, everyone's picking up on that now. But just when it comes to kids and like, I don't like that. It's like, you know what I mean? When you're sitting there and it's like you're trying to help your kids, it should be a partnership. Like they said, it takes a village. But it's like you got to make sure you have the right people in that village. I don't care who it is. Pediatrician, doctor, therapist, whatever it is. Speech therapist, whatever. It's like you got to make sure you have people that are on your side and on your team and encouraging your children to be the best that they can be. If they're not a part of that, then it's just like, no, like, you're here for a specific scenario. You're here for a specific situation. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you should be doing. You know what I mean? It just ticks me off. You know what I mean? I just cannot imagine how many other people have had the experience with that jerk off. And it's just like, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, they haven't, well, fortunately, they haven't gone through situations where they have to speak up so much, But it was just like validation for myself. I don't wish no harm to nobody. I just said karma's going to nip that mother effer in the butt. And it did. He got fired. I'm not praising it. I feel bad. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? You need to go back to school and do something else. Because maybe be a lawyer because he's very argumentative. He doesn't have any listening skills whatsoever. So the Nine of Vision. The Nine of Vision is all about wishes. So take a moment here. Pause the video and make a wish. Shout out your manifestation. Don't care how big or small it is. Some people may see your vision board. I put it on my headboard of my bed. Like I have like a one that it's kind of like with the captain's bed where it has like the shelving. So it's just like I love it because I have like, my Bible and my Torah and everything there. So it, you know what I mean? I love the fact that I can put stuff there, that I like on my headboard. But that's where I put mine. So when I wake up, I see it. But the thing is, honestly, it's there, but it's like it's kind of subconsciously not there. Like it's there, and like I feel weird now because I'm going upstairs because I'm like I have it downstairs where I'm, adding to it, and we just finished the calendar, so I'm just like okay, what are there any words or pictures or anything in there that I could cut out and put on there, you know what I mean? But it's just like, it's so weird to go to bed now and that it's not there. It's like, I know it's there, but I don't like, like look at it. You know what I mean? Maybe I should more, but it's just like, I always bring up Kim Zalzman Berman because like, she just resonates with me. The fact that she sat there on her vision board, she had it in her dressing closet. She didn't show anyone because I understand, like, people sit there and put their juju because they don't want people to succeed. But it's just like, she put Italy on there. You know what I mean? And me, it's just like, I want to take the kids to Disney World. I want to take Junior to, Georgia to see the Walking Dead set and, all that good stuff. So it's just like, how will that happen? It's like, just like this, the blessing that we got last year. It's just like, I didn't even see that coming. I was just like, oh my gosh, how are we going to push, pull forward? Like, how are we going to, make it going forward? We always do. And we, we've always had the money for it and everything, but it's just like, you want to make significant change in your life. And it's like, you need something there to do those things. You know what I mean? And it's just like, sometimes it takes working two jobs. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't feel like this is a job though. This is my passion. I don't like calling it a job. Sometimes it feels tedious, but I don't like calling it a job because this is where my heart is. You know what I mean? So it's like when you love what you're doing, it don't feel like a job at all. You have a great time doing it. But she put Italy on there. She put it on for 7 years. And I'm sure she got some naysayers like, how the heck are you going to do that? And it's like, you know what? There's plenty of life to live. So even if it doesn't happen now, it happens 50 years from now, 60 years from now, whatever you know what I mean? It's just like, it'll happen, you know? So we're going to start with the Weaver of Visions. So you see the sunlight coming in towards the car. I know you can't really, on the card, not the car. But you can't really see because the lamp is shining on it. But you can see how it's cascading down on her. And it's pulling her, like her curiosity is what got her. It's just like, look, the fireworks and the ships and, the treasures that would come down from the shipwrecks and stuff like that. So it was her curiosity, something pulled her towards the light. So sometimes, unfortunately, we have to go through things where it actually comes out in us. Like I've always had this, like, in me since I was young. You know what I mean? But I always, like, it scared the bejesus out of me. You know what I mean? So it was just like, and even in the Bible, sometimes it would be like sorcery and card reading and, you know what I mean? But it's just like a person that, like myself, that has gone through trials and tribulations in life. And it's just like, this has always been a part of it. You know what I mean? Card reading has been coming in and out of my life, my whole life. It's just like, okay, you know what? Let's get serious about this. Educate yourself at a higher level. Know that this is a God-given ability. We're all born with it. It's like who puts their energy into it. Just like, you have a successful bar or a successful nightclub. Why? Because you were determined and dedicated and you got exactly where you wanted to go. That's exactly what you got to put into anything in life you want to be successful. Determination and dedication, you will be the victor wearing the wreath. You got to tell yourself, even at this moment right now, it looks slim to none that that's going to happen. But the more you sit there and take those steps forward saying, I'm working towards X, you will get there. The Weaver of Visions is a shape-shifting enchantress, and the sacred lake is the place of her magical transformation. The water surfaces is a borderline between the worlds. So, we can talk about that like where it's not so much shape-shifting. I feel like we transform in different situations. You know what I mean? I also feel like when we make that step forward to do certain things, like you transform. You know what I mean? Because you sat there and you were bold enough to take that step. That's why anyone that's going through like a widow or a grief journey or just like going through that crap, you know what I mean? Especially alone, which is the worst. Even though you feel like you have a lot of people that support you, it's like truthfully, you're 99% of the time you go through it alone. It's like making that step for yourself, saying, I have the courage to sit there and move forward. I refuse to let this take over my life. You know what I mean? I refuse to live in this energy the rest of my life. I refuse to accept this as this is it for me. You know what I mean? This is it for now. In this moment, right now. But if you sit there and it's just like, anyone that's been following me for a long time knows this is the time of year. It's 2019, New Year. It was the day after. I think it was the day after or the day. No, I think it was the day after. I was just like, I refuse to feel like this every single year. I'm not going to sit there and cry and throw myself on the floor and not decorate the tree. I have kids. Christmas is a huge holiday for children. Even as an adult, it's just like the wonderment and the magic, sitting there and like Hanukkah. You know what I mean? For Hanukkah, for us, we don't do 8 days of gifts. It's all about the lighting of the candles and bringing that light into the home and belief and prayers and devotion and all that good stuff, I keep saying I'm going to do something for the kids, like 8 days, I'll do something, but, it hasn't happened yet, but, I'll get there. She acts on instinct, surrendering without question to the yearnings of her heart. She is the elusive one, the glimmering girl. She is loved at first sight. She is poetry. So, the deeper arts, I definitely feel like tarot reading is an art. We're storytelling. We're sitting there through the cards. We're telling you a story. This is the story of your life. You know what I mean? Some of it seems kind of genetic. Oh, you're loved. Oh, they love you. They miss. Yeah, that seems generic. But it's just like, You know, when they could tell you when you were a child, you did X, Y, and Z, or there's a locket, or there's this, there's that, and you're just like, oh, you know? A solution that comes through imagination and intuition rather than logic and analysis. So this is where it's like, intuitively, I knew that's not who I was. I've always been a fighter. You know what I mean? So that was my inside speaking to, my human form self. It's just like, this is not who we are. You know what I mean? It's just like this, just because it looks like this now, and it showed me a greater appreciation. You know what I mean? At least we have a roof over our head. There's no mold. Well, I don't know about mold, but there's no mice. Well, we have mice too, but not as bad as it was. You know what I mean? But it's just like you live in the country. It's like it happens. But, it's not the same situation as before. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, we're safe, we're warm, we're together. That's the biggest thing. We're together. You know what I mean? There's nothing that the three of us cannot face without each other. Like, especially because the boys are older now, it makes it a heck of a lot easier. You know what I mean? It's just like, I feel like I was robbed for 5 years of our life, but at the same time, it's like, we grew. You know what I mean? So, that's all that matters. But it's just like, I use that situation as a scenario. So, maybe you're going through something different, but it's like, if you sit there and take that stance and be like, I refuse to X, Y, and Z, and make that step forward, it's not easy. Like, I will tell you, many times I've slid back, I've cried, a meditation was the biggest thing for me. I started and my mind was racing everywhere, but then, soon my mind started to calm down and realize, okay, this is a time for me. This is a time of relaxation. This is a time just to be centered. I used to play like Amazon forest, rain, the wind blowing through the trees, whatever, because I love nature. So it's like different things that could bring that in. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's something that just grounded myself. I did it all summer. All summer I did it. Kids were off. I did it all summer. Best thing I could have done for myself to regroup. You know what I mean? And it's just like, that's the thing you got to do for yourself. You got to do the things that make you happy. People may not understand it, but it's your life. As long as you're not hurting anybody, do what's best for you. So, dreamy, intuitive, psychic, empathetic, emotionally sensitive. So, I feel like, I know Capricorn is all about grounding forces, but I definitely do feel more sensitive in Capricorn season than any other. You know what I mean? We went, especially when Pisces was in the sky. I didn't feel it so much then. It was like afterwards. But it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't help but feel a certain way this time of year, especially if you had someone that meant a lot to you in your life, or, you know what I mean, was a big part of your life. It's just, you can't help but feel that way. But I was just like, I refuse to feel that anymore. It's just like, like it was trying to bring me in. I'm like, yep, I acknowledge the fact that, he's not physically here. But you know what? I'm still going to be happy. There were so many other factors that played in this year to bring this year down. And I'm like, I refuse it. I refuse to allow other people's situations forget my Christmas. Forget it. Devotes herself to those she deeply loves. And I feel like this is very, like when we got the Queen of Cups yesterday. That's what I was talking about. You're always pouring from your cup. You know what I mean? And that's why. Because people know you deeply love. People try to take advantage of that. They sit there and they're just like, oh, you know what? I know they're going to feel empathetic. Well, they won't use those words because they have no idea what that means. But it's just like, oh, I know that they'll always help me. They're going to feel bad for me and they're going to help me. It's like, that's where she's like cutting out those boundaries. It's just like, I know certain people take advantage of the situation. Keep things to yourself. You don't have to tell everybody every little thing that happens in your life. You know why? Because people will take advantage. Oh, you got that? Did you really? Okay, well, you know what? Now I need help. You got that? Okay, I need some help now. You got help. Why should you only get stuff? Well, I need to get some stuff too. You know what? And you're going to pay for it because you got that. So I need a piece of that pie. I need all of the pie. I will leave you a sliver. You know what? Forget it. I want the whole thing. So you got to sit there, and this is the Queen of Swords. They're showing it right now. Throne Thursdays, Game of Thrones tarot deck. Be empathetic. Be generous to a point of self-preservation. Someone was asking me for some money, and I'm just like, are you crazy? Like, it's Christmas. I have got kids. Are you nuts? And they're just like, yeah. And I'm like, they're like, well, I need help too. And I'm like, yeah, and like, sorry, no, I don't have it. So the fairy wind. The quiet mode of the forest shifts, subtle at first, but then with increased tension. Then the breathless hush after a storm. You hear a rush sound in the distance, growing louder as it approaches, the sound of tree tops dancing in the wind that comes closer and closer until it opens you it's upon you, lifting your hair and cooling your cheeks. They're, they are surrounded by the sudden fragrance of blueberries and moss and honey. So one thing is like when they say getting louder and louder, it's like sometimes we get in a state where I don't know if anyone that's dealt with anxiety, it's just like you're laying in bed and then your heartbeat starts to get louder and louder and it's like in your ears, you know? And it's just like, okay, we got to calm down now. Like that's not normal. The fairy wind is a powerful sign of ultimate success. One of the most fortunate sees the fate. Through many have felt the presence, the passing. Things will pick up speed for you now, and your endeavors will flow swiftly towards a positive outcome. So we were getting that yesterday with work. It's just like it's like with two of them, the Six of Cups as well as the Eight of Pentacles, and it was like people, like an audience. You know what I mean? So I could say that with the Six of Cups, with audience would be this because people are watching. So I could see how that's picking up for myself. With work, it's like, a new training thing. So it's like you will be successful in that. It's just like where you put your energy. Worry about yourself. That's why I sit there and it's just like, you know what? I don't care what this one's doing, that one's doing, what they got, the X, Y, and Z. I worry about myself. I worry about what I do, what I put forward, and that's that. Because you know what? At the end of the day, their paycheck is their paycheck. My paycheck is my paycheck. They don't affect my paycheck. I don't affect their paycheck. It makes it easier when we have everybody that's supposed to be there. But it's just like, worry about yourself. Sit there and put yourself first. You know what I mean? Worry about what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to affect you, and you're not going to affect them. And if you think of the grand scheme of things, you know what I mean? You got to sit there and do the right things. You may not agree with what they're doing or what they're saying, and it's just like that's fine. But that's them. This is you. You just worry about you. Continue forward with increased confidence. This is why I feel like with the Weaver of Visions, it's like you're enchanted by this light. You're enchanted by something. You know what I mean? You're being pulled towards something, and I feel like that's what the fairy wind is saying here. It's like you're being called towards something for a reason, and you will be successful. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have all the answers right now, but it's just like never sit there and negate the fact that it won't happen. You know what I mean? Like, even for myself, like I said, we've always made it. By the grace of God, we've always made it. But it's just like, March, I was just like, okay, how do we move forward? It was before March. And then this came in. I was excited. And then I was just like, oh, poop. It just turned out he didn't have my phone number. I was like, oh, thank God. You know what I mean? It's just like, it really, I'm grateful because it's brought a lot of positive things in for me. Like I said, is every day a picnic? No. But you know what? It's just like, I've learned to be like, you know what? One call at a time, whatever. They're not happy. I did everything I could. That's the way I did it. And I move on. It's just like, I was taking it to heart. And even people leaving, there's a lot of turnover. You know what I mean? And I just have to sit there and be like, you know what? They're moving on to bigger and better things. It sucks. I hate it because I attach to people. So it's just like, now it's just like, just learning how to move forward. So speed, change, important news. So there you go. success, self-governance, independence, achievement. So by listening to that wind, by listening to spirit, you know what I mean? Like when we go outside and it's like, everyone's like, oh, that's all hippity dippity, bull boo. And it's like, I tell you, last year, probably February, I was in the living room and I felt some sort of way. I went outside and I did a lap around the front. There was no neighbors at that time, or the year before. And it was just like, you know what I mean? It grounded me. You know what I mean? And it was cold and windy like heck. And I was like, I'm gonna do another. I ended up doing 4 laps around. We used to do laps around the front because that's how big it is because it's 3 units. But you could do laps around. It's not as great as the track, but it's just like it gets your body moving, get your heartbeat going. And that's why it's like, even though it's like, I will say that too, like, yeah, sometimes I love working out, sometimes I flipping hate it. I like the feeling afterwards after I'm done, but it's just like, you got to do what's best for you. You know what I mean? We got to move our bodies. That's where it's a lot of times we get into that, energy is because we're not moving. When you're moving and walking, you feel a lot better. So the wild world. So this is where I was zooming in and it's just like we're about to embrace something. And this is where the fairies are like, come on, go towards it. I feel like this is the wind gently pushing you forward. It's scary. You know what I mean? Because we don't know what's going to happen. But it's like you are always okay. That's one thing you got to remember with the universe. Even though it's unknown, even though we're scared, it's like it will work out. And here we are, back at the portal, the lessons of the forest and the experiences therein that have brought you to in this place. The White Heart is here reminding you that the enchantress does not end at the woodland edge. The forest can only see a little way ahead of you. In the wild world, we could see much farther. The sweet open meadows, the misty hills, the twisted roads, and the vast skies. The cloud castles. Other forests await fresh visions and new challenges, stronger spells, and greater bones. One cycle ends and the next begins. This is a positive card, not a disruptive ending as the folly card. This is a card of destiny. Following the counsel of animals, here we assure you your progress and align it with your greater purpose of life. So we assure your progress, right? So, this is where I'm saying the weaver of vision. So ascension, right? She's ascending like she's in the water. Do you think of the Little Mermaid? She ascends to the surface. Now she's like her whole world is opened. You know what I mean? She's sitting there and she's like, she's seen the boat. She's seen the human. She fell in love with Eric. But then she wanted more. She wanted to go on the land. She wanted to learn that she took that chance. That he wouldn't kill her that she was taught. And she took that chance. It's not as... it's more dreamy than the actual book itself, the actual story of the Little Mermaid. But it's just like, she goes on the land. But think about, she learns all these things. So it's just like a journey when you step into tarot or anything that you learn. It's just like you don't know what's going to happen here, but you're excited to learn. You're eager to learn, and that's the thing that makes you, that's where you achieve. Because it's like you're eager to learn. You're open to learning. You may not get it the first time. But if someone takes the time, and I was lucky enough with one of my coworkers, I was just like, hey, I'm not getting this. Can you help me? It was one little thing that I overlooked. One little flipping thing. Because you're in a panic when you start these things. And he's like, that's all you had to do. I was like, for the love of flip. And now it's like, I made a mistake on freaking Thursday, but it's just like, hopefully they can fix it. But it's just like, it's just, slowing down and paying attention to the details. It's just like, you want to give them the best service possible as quickly as possible so that way, because you hear the huffing and puffing, but it's just like, when you're eager to do things in life, you will succeed. You've done what you needed to do, whether if you're not completed yet, it's time to look forward to the new horizons. Completion, wholeness, seeing the bigger picture, connection to the world. And that's the thing. It's just like we think we're limited because that's what we're taught. This is what you have to do. You're going to sit there and go to school until you're 17, 18 years old. Then hopefully you'll go off to college, you'll get a career, you'll meet a nice girl, you'll have children, you'll work your butt off until by the grace of God you're 65, and then you'll sit there and you'll wait till die. That's what we're taught. When are we enjoying life? Oh, you can enjoy life when you're 65. How many people are able to quit working at 65? Walmart is full of retired people from their jobs that sat there and it's like, well, you're making too much money, so now you have to leave. And they go end up working at Walmart. They're way smarter and skilled and everything. But you know what? They make the most amazing employees, though. You know, they're hardworking. They always show up, and they're sitting there and they're working. You know why? Because medication costs a butt ton. Yeah, Canada has free healthcare. Yeah, but what does it cover? Yeah, you can go to the hospital in X, Y, and Z, but your medications will cost you $400 unless you have a job with benefits. You know, so it's just like, you know, you gotta sit there and live life to the fullest. So suspension. In an ancient pine in a remote part of the forest, a sorcerer hangs in suspension in amber. And I feel like, and amber, so amber is like, you know, when I think of amber, I think of fire. And it's that beautiful orange, you know, but I also think of the sap of the tree is what I'm thinking here. Amber to me, though, it really stood out with the fireside. Um, Here, I feel like it's just like four swords in a major way. It's like rest and rejuvenation before we pick up the sword again. This is where I feel like we're in this void. And then this is like where I say I don't feel like January doesn't start until that week of the 24th, like the end there. And then things start moving forward. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're in this void, of course. Yes, we're going through retrograde. Um, but it's just like by the in the middle of January, then we're going to go, you know, we're going to head into February and whatnot. This is where I feel like things are going to pick up. So I feel like the things that we're trying to achieve, it's like go ahead and do those things. Sit there, even though it's scary, even though you're already told no, they're going to push back. It's like still try. You know what I mean? At least you tried. That doesn't work. Okay, let's try this one now. You know, somehow, some way, things that you want to work out will work out. Determination. You're not easily told no. That was like Jean. He came in here. The electrician told him no. I don't know what to do. I can't find anyone. I called every single person I could find. She came in. She did the job in 10 minutes. She left. You know? So I prayed that that endeavor works out for her because that would be amazing for the both of them. You know what I mean? But he's like, wow, he offered me a job. He's like, come work for me. He's like, you don't take no for an answer. I'm like, hell no. If I would have taken no for an answer my whole life, I've been told no all my life. I've been told I'm full of poo. No, this, that, the other. If I would have listened to all those people, I wouldn't be where I am today. You got to listen to yourself. And that's exactly what that Weaver of Visions is. You feel drawn to something, go for it. The fairy wind is like, we got your back. You even see that with the suspension. He's got a dragonfly with him. Dragonfly is a symbol of our loved ones, our ancestors with us, and it's like we're here with you in this void, this void of course, this low time. Sleep, get your energy, recharge your battery, because we're about to go get some. We're about to kick some butt. We're about to do something here. You may be like myself, where you have to put a lot of work in. You know what I mean? But you know what? It'll be worth it. It'll be worth for what's coming. And his body is caught in a stance. He is alive. He is consciously roams freely through many worlds. Suspension signifies a time of surrender to the higher purpose. There is a time for action, and there's a time when it is best to stay still and depend and deepen in wisdom. And I feel like when we go through these things in life, like there, I can say like a breakup, separation, a divorce, bereavement. It's like we go through this time, everybody's time period is different, where depression, fear, worry, and doubt all kick in, lack of sleep, lack of appetite, your nerves are shot. It's like you have this fog in your head, you can't think clearly, but it's just like, you know what? It's deeper wisdom. Once that fog lifts, you can think more clearly and you can articulate yourself better. Like someone said something to me over Christmas, and I was just like, I already warned people. They say it to me, I'm going off. And I did. I never used to do that. I would never stand up for myself, and now I do. I'm like, I don't care. You're going to come at me, I'm going to come at you with daggers. Like, no, I don't think so. Your soul is ready for the next stage of growth. And that's where I feel like where this siren, the Weaver of Visions, is saying, you're ready for growth. You know what I mean? You've been in this world, in this, life for so long. It's become stagnant. You're thirsty for more. Your soul is longing for you to do more. So it's like, let's go. This may involve a sacrifice of worldly ambitions or well-led plans. For myself, I feel like I know what the sacrifice is, which I'm fine with. You know what I mean? Because like seeing it from the other side, I'm like, makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in that position, and it's just like, you know, I want someone that understands that I lived a life, my body eeky and creaky, leave me alone. you know? So the nine of vision. So this is like a wish. So this is where if you didn't pause it before, pause it now. Sit there and really concentrate on something you want to manifest in your life. Something that you really want. Something, this is where something like, I have this big rectangular piece of paper, you know, and I sat there and the things that I want, I put closest to the top. You know, my faith is always front and center, but it's like other things I want to bring in are at the tippy top of what I want. You know, so this is where it's just like, what do you want for this year? Think long and hard and make that wish. In an overgrown glade lies the ruins of the stone cottage, abandoned who knows how long ago, 100 years, 500 perhaps. No one has come here in all that time to disturb its peace. The ruins shelter an ancient well. This is the wishing card. It signifies the wish will come true. As often as the case of the forest enchantment, there's a catch. With a wish must be true. You must want it, visualize it, and believe in yourself. Favoreless wishes can bring unstirred results. Half-hearted wishes are ignored by the magic well. Take your time and decide what you want. Don't waste your wish. Circumstances align with your favor. Faith in a positive outcome. Wish fulfillment. Good fortune. So all these cards, even with yesterday, are going with a positive endeavor. And I feel like because it's time. Because like they were saying, we had 25% more to heal. And the reason for that is because there's something coming in here. So I feel like this void of course, especially in this Capricorn energy as we move forward, it's just like, Capricorn is grounding energy, but it's also emotional. Because if you think about the shadow side, it's like you feel like you're buried 6 feet underground. Being in ground, if you ever went camping and slept on the ground, the earth is cold at night. So it's dark, it's cold, makes way for depression, anxiety, fear, worry, and doubt. So when we sit there, it's an emotional time. We don't think of Capricorn like that, but it's like when you really get into it, you know what I mean? What are the shadow sides of things? Or it's like, when you really think about that, it's just like, well, this is where the weaver of vision is like, let's go towards that light. We've been kept, in this environment for so long. I'm ready. It's like you're like a plant. You've outgrown your pot. You need to move into a bigger pot so you can grow and flourish and be beautiful, and show your true beauty, because this pot is keeping you stagnant. So it's just like when you move a home. It's like, yeah, we've outgrown this home. We outgrew this home a long time ago. So now it's time to move to a new one. So this is where the universe is saying, we are encouraging you to put yourself out there. We're encouraging you to sit there and make the moves that you want, because now is the time. Will it happen in the time period that you want? Probably not. It always happens when we least expect it. It happens on the most unopportune time, but it will work out. The universe has your back. They're encouraging you to move forward. The biggest thing is that we hold ourselves back. Oh, it ain't gonna happen because we listen to people around us. They tell me, oh, that ain't gonna happen. You're full of doo-doo. Well, it happened. So you know what? People may not agree with what you do. That's fine. You don't agree with what I do? I don't want to hear it. You don't have to be a part of my life. I'm fine moving forward without you. I don't need negative comments and commentary. You're supposed to support me. I'm not hurting nobody. I'm educating myself at a higher level. What does it bother you any? Because you don't agree with it? That's fine. You don't have to agree with it. It's not your life. Move forward and do what's best for you. Sit there and educate yourself at a higher level. Sit there and do what's best for you. Enjoy this time. Enjoy this, somber time. Sleep in if you're able to. Catch a nap if you're able to. Sit there and get the energy you need, because you're about to pick up the sword again. Pick up that sword. Don't sit there and stay in that dormant energy. Pick up the sword, because now they're ready for things to move forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed these daily tarot cards for Tuesday, January 2nd, 2023. May the universe bless you good. We'll see you for the next daily tarot card.